3rd March 2023, Morning Murli, Shanti, BapDada, Madhuban. Sweet children, when clean samplings became covered with a dirt of the 5 vices, corruption increases. You now have to become elevated and make others elevated. Question: what elevated directions do you take from Sri Shivbaba in order to become elevated? Answer: in order to become elevated, you take the Father Srimad. Children, remain in my service for a minimum of 8 hours. You may do that government service for 8 hours, but remember me for 8 hours and spin the discus of self-realization. Together with that, blow the conch shell and tell everyone while leaving at home, remain as pure as a lotus and claim your inheritance from the Father. So, who created the scheme and hid himself away. Shanti. You sweetest children heard the song. Initially, in the golden age, you children experienced a lot of happiness. You were very intoxicated. There was nothing but happiness. There was just the land of Bharat. There were no other lands. The people of Bharat, the king, queen, and subjects were all in great comfort and very happy. There was never any corruption there. The deities of the golden age were elevated. So much praise is sung of them. There is praise of the king, queen, and subjects of everyone. Then man comes and clings to you. This drama is predestined and it has to be understood very well. No one apart from the Father can explain it. The Father alone makes Bharat and the whole world constantly happy and peaceful. He does everything and then hides himself away. Whose praise is this? That of the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. When there was heaven in Bharat, it was the kingdom of deities. It was Satapradhan, and there was no name or trace of sorrow. Then after half a cycle, it became the kingdom of Ravan. It is remembered of the deities of the golden age. They are completely viceless, the most elevated beings who follow the highest code of conduct. There can never be corruption there. They were elevated there. By corruption gradually increasing, the clean samplings became covered with the dirt of the 5 vices, and so everything has now become corrupt. The king, queen, and subjects were all elevated, and all of them have now become corrupt. They even sing, and without virtue. I do not have any virtues. They call out, "O God the Father," and ask for mercy. They go in front of the images of the deities and ask to be made like them. They don't know the drama, so they don't know when they can become like them again. You were elevated. There was no mention of corruption. At this time, all human beings have become corrupt. No one knows how the king, queen, and subjects can all now become elevated from corrupt. This is an impure world. There has to be corruption. The Father now says, whatever you understand, explain that to others. They sing in the Father's praise that he did everything himself and then hid himself away. Incorporeal. God definitely has to come. They celebrate Shiv Jayanti. You children now know how he comes. Shiv is the purifier. He has to come when the whole world has become impure. He has to come and make everyone pure. He would not make just 2 to 4 people pure. The king, queen, and subjects were all pure, and now the king, queen, and subjects are all impure. There are no kings or queens now. You know that there were royal people, but there are now no kingdoms. When there was the British government, wealthy people and landowners used to give them money. When someone gave 20 to 30,000, he would receive a title. Baba is experienced. Shivbaba has chosen an experienced child. He would not take just an old child. Great kings keep first class horses. Some of the animals are also very good. For instance, some camels are very good. When you sit on them, it feels like an aeroplane moving. Some are such that you have to beat them a lot. Truly, this Bharat was heaven 5,000 years ago. This is very well known. Christians too say that 3,000 years before Christ there was heaven, means Garden of Eden. Therefore, this truly makes the cycle 5,000 years. The themselves show a duration for a cycle, but they still say that the golden age is hundreds of thousands of years long. Baba explains such points, so you have to embed them and then explain them to others. However, you don't explain them. Your children now know that you truly were elevated. The king, queen, and subjects were all elevated. A lion and a lamb would drink water together, means from the same river. There were no devils there, such as Kans, Jarasan, Hiranyakashipa, etc. They have shown Hiranyakashipa, etc. in the golden age and Sri Krishna in the copper age. They show Ravan in the silver age. They have given all the devils different names. Kumbhakarna, etc. is also the name of devil. It is now the devilish kingdom. That is, they are those who follow devilish dictates. The Father now comes and gives you Srimad. You are now Brahmins and are becoming deities. The Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, establishes the Brahman, deity, and warrior relations through the lotus mouth of Brahma. There is no other religion there. No other religion was established in the golden or silver age. The duration of both ages is the same, 1250 years. In the golden age, there is the deity kingdom, and in the silver age, there is the warrior religion, the sun and moon dynasties, who established the sun and moon dynasty kingdoms. Would you see that Ram established the moon dynasty kingdom and that Lakshmi and Narayan established the sun dynasty kingdom? No, it was the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, who established both kingdoms. The Father is the creator of heaven. He created the kingdom of the golden and silver ages. It is remembered that the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, created the Brahman, deity, and warrior religions through the mouth of Brahma. The Father says, "This knowledge that I tell you will disappear. People don't forget the name, form, place, or time of those who established the Islam and Buddhist religions, etc. Everyone knows them. Everyone will forget all the knowledge of how I established the deity religion. So many religions are then established in the copper age. In just the Islam and Buddhist religions, there are now so many branches. They fight among themselves so much. You now know how Baba does everything and then hides himself away. Maya then comes and clings to those who were the deities in heaven. They have become completely without virtue. People sing, "I am without virtue. I do not have any virtue." This is why they worship the virtuous deities. Great kings have temples in their palaces. They worship them. There wouldn't be a single king who didn't have such a temple. You children know that you now have to follow shivbaba Srimad. You have to take Srimad at every step, for only then will you become like those deities. However, you don't follow Srimad. Baba says if you are confused about anything, just write a letter and ask Baba. Remember the Father. Maya is such that she doesn't allow you to remember the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, who establishes heaven. Baba knows that many storms will come. However, you should write a letter and ask what you should do in such a situation. It is your son's wedding, so what should you do? Someone has died. What should you do? Directions have to be taken. If you want to become elevated, follow Srimad. There cannot be the directions of Sri Krishna. How could Sri Krishna come into the impure world? Sri Krishna's soul is studying Raj Yoga himself in his last birth. Is there just the Sri Krishna's soul? All those of the deity clan have to become Brahmins. You have to follow Srimad at every step. The Father says as much as possible, continue to remember the Father. Each of you has a huge burden of sin. Some of you may be working for the government and have to do 8 hours of that service. For the rest of the time, stay in remembrance. Do my service for at least 8 hours. Remember the Father. Spin the discus of self-realization. Blow the conch shell. Which one? Tell everyone. While living at home with your families, live like a lotus and claim your inheritance from the Father. The Father is creating heaven, and so you should receive the inheritance of heaven. It is only Bharat that becomes the master of heaven. It is now the master of hell. When people are unhappy in hell, they remember the Father, but they don't know what the Father will give them. They say of the Father that He is omnipresent and that He is in the pebbles and stones. The Father says, you have made such a big mistake about that too. It's fixed in the drama. Now leave that. You have become tired of doing devotion, etc. Devotion has now become adulterated. Death is just ahead of you, and so you should follow Srimad. However, children forget such a father. No one knows how the kingdom of Maya, Ravan, continues. They burn effigies of Ravan. That system was created later. They burn effigies of Ravan, but he continues to get bigger every year. They used to make his effigy 10 feet tall. Then they made it 15 feet and then 50 feet. They make it as high as the roof. They also make very large images of Buddha. However, human beings cannot be that tall. At the most, human beings would be 6 feet tall. Lakshmi and Narayan would also be just about that tall. It isn't that because they have longer lifespans there, they grow taller. No, human beings are human beings. Just as you now see all the different varieties, there are all types in Bharat. Too, there are those who are beautiful and there are those who are ugly. It is Baba who makes everyone beautiful. He is the beautiful traveler. He speaks to you. You should not forget him. You may forget this one, means the corporeal one. Always think that Baba is making all of you brides into beautiful princes. It is said that by taking a dip in the Mansarovar lake, human beings change into angels. You now understand that you became the angels of knowledge through the ocean of knowledge. You are now the angels of hell. No matter how much fashion they follow, how much powder, etc. they put on, they would still be in hell. Ask anyone whether this is heaven or hell. They say that for the wealthy, it is heaven. They don't know heaven or hell. So you should be concerned about Srimad. They don't even know about Srimad. They have made the name and form of the one who made you so elevated disappear. They sing, "You are the mother and father, and we are your children." You now know who the mother is. Surely the one whom the father enters and through whom he creates creation would be called the mother. Here you understand that you are the mouth-born creation of Prajapita Brahma. You are the grandsons and granddaughters of Shivbaba. So there is also the name of the father. The father, the agent, is definitely needed in between, so that you can be called the grandsons and granddaughters and claim your inheritance from the grandfather. Therefore, this one is the agent. You cannot receive the inheritance from him. He too has to claim his inheritance from Shivbaba. You have to follow Shivbaba's directions. You receive the inheritance from Shivbaba through Brahma. However, Baba says you also have to forget this one. You have to take directions from Shivbaba. People celebrate Shiv Jayanti, but they don't know anything at all. They have removed the memorial of the Father who created heaven, and they have kept instead the memorial of the one who created hell. Everything becomes more corrupt day by day. If you get angry, you should understand that there is an evil spirit of anger in you. So, how could you be called elevated? You definitely have to make effort to become elevated. Acha, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost, and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, BapDada. The spiritual father says, Namaste to the spiritual children. The spiritual children says, Namaste and good morning to the spiritual father. Essence for the dharana. First point, have remembrance of the father and take the knowledge from the ocean of knowledge and become a beautiful angel of knowledge. You definitely have to take Shiv Baba's directions at every step. Second point, in order to become elevated, remove any evil spirits from inside you. Don't do anything that would make you corrupt. Blessing, may you be an easy effort maker and overcome any problem as big as the Himalayas in a second with your flying stage. Explanation, in order to overcome a problem as big as the Himalayas, use the method of the flying stage. Keep all your attainments constantly merged in front of you and continue to fly in the flying stage, and you will then overcome a mountain of problems in a second. Simply experience the reward of the present time and the future. Just as you are able to see physical things very clearly with your physical eyes, in the same way, with the experienced eye of your intellect, see your reward clearly and continue to accumulate an income of multi-millions at every step. Slogan, those who have regard for everyone become idols, means images of perfection for everyone. Om Shanti